Hey there. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Blind Buys. We've just finished up a monkey special request, and we are backlogged with a whole bunch of other viewer suggested and requested fragrances. There were quite a few that were requested in a timely fashion. It all falls on me. They were requested in timely fashion. There's no bad time to request any fragrance, but as it lined up, these fragrances may have not been so well suited for the summer, so I had to kind of put them on the backlog. And now that we are coming into colder winter weather, which we get here in central New York for, let's face it, the majority of the year, we can do more of these fragrances that are better suited for colder weather. Or if they're not better suited for colder weather, they may not be as offensive or any other, they may sit better or anything like that. So without jawing on too much, this is a suggestion by Abdali Ali, and probably others. I might have forgot to write down the other names of anybody who else requested this. I think this was a pretty popular request. This is Le Male Le Parfum. It is an open box, I believe, not a tester, since a tester would come in a box like this, and a regular retail bottle comes in a jar, can, more of a, can, jars or glass, a can like that. These Jean Paul Gaultiers are great to get in tester format or unboxed format like this, simply because the can's kind of obnoxious to store, and there's no caps on any of these bottles, so you're not missing out on any percentage of the presentation. The can doesn't really matter. It's just a little extra tin, and you're not missing out on a cap. Some fragrances do come testers with caps, but Jean Paul Gaultier does not come with caps. They come with little collars. So, atomizer is facing 180 degrees the wrong way. I'm the only person who cares about that. The presentation is as it should be, although it looks a little dusty. You can see it's kind of gray. You can sort of wipe some of the dustiness off, or maybe it's just frosted glass and condensation from my hands. Anyways, we shall pull the pin and spray a little bit on. 1, 2. Third should do. There's a little bit on the third. And a good fourth. So, in terms of accords on our old Fragrantica cop-out, we've got warm spicy on the top, vanilla, aromatic, lavender, powdery, iris, amber, woody, and violet. And I know a little bit about this fragrance. I know that there's cardamom on the top, so I wasn't super stoked to open this right off of the bat. I've done quite a few fragrances with cardamom recently, so I'm just kind of like a little over cardamom right now. We'll see. I mean, yeah, it's the warmest, spiciest note that anybody uses, so it seems very popular. This is yeah, I mean, this is nice. It is like the accords say, it's warm, spicy, and it's aromatic. I've never smelled the original Le Male, but I believe it's like an aromatic. That's kind of what's coming through, the lavender. Yeah. But in terms of notes, it's cardamom, lavender, iris, lavender and iris in the middle, sorry. And in the base, It's vanilla, oriental notes, and woodsy notes. Cardamom just sitting up top all by itself there. Now, this is an interesting fragrance. So far, I'm not super stoked on it. It's nice smelling. It kind of reminds me of everybody else's fragrance that they wear to work. Sort of sharp and slightly off-putting. It's not a bad fragrance, but it's not something that I personally am super stoked to wear. I would attribute that greatly to the cardamom and lavender combo. Hopefully the dry down is a lot nicer on this. In terms of iris, this doesn't smell like a Prada L'Homme or Dior Homme Intense sort of iris, which is sort of nice. I'm kind of actually more happy about that than not. I'm not the biggest iris guy in the world, but I don't mind it personally. It's just not something that's super high on my list in terms of things I'm searching for. This smells nice overall. Check me out on the other side of the waterfall. We'll go deeper into what I paid for this, where I got it, longevity, projection, and all those other things that we always do every time. So thanks for sticking with me, you guys, and we'll see you on the other side of the waterfall. Thanks. Okay, folks. I've been wearing Jean-Paul Gaultier's Les Mâles Les Parfums for about 7 or 8 days now. So it's definitely time that we can wrap up our thoughts on this one and move on to something different. This came out in 2020, so it's about 3 years old, but not discontinued yet. They must be selling plenty of bottles, and I believe they really are. So this stays in production, I believe, for now. For perfumers, there were 3 listed. There is Natalie Gracia Seto, Quentin Biche, and Louise Turner, all of which have made some somewhat prolific fragrances. Natalie Gracia Seto has their name on Rocus Mustache, Burberry Brit for women, Les Mâles in the Navy, and Pride Edition. Quentin Biche has his name on Parfums de Marly Carlisle, Les Mâles Elixir, Wanted by Night, Light Blue Forever, and Jean-Paul Gaultier's Les Beaux and Les Beaux Les Parfums, which is actually what this is. And Louise Turner has made Tom Ford's Lost Cherry, Cherry Smoke, Electric Cherry, and Maison Martin Margiela's At the Barber. So, some prolific names. No wonder this came out as such a popular fragrance. I got batch code 20981, which gives us an exact born-on date of April 8th, 2022. So already more than a year old, but holding up well. I got this off of Fragrance Net, and actually this is a tester. I said it was an unboxed. My receipt says a tester, so actually we're going to go with that. These are also testers, but this one came in bubble wrap for some reason. I paid $73.79. These are 4.2 ounce bottles, which comes out to $17.56 an ounce, which is really a good price. You kind of got to admit, less than $20 an ounce is pretty darn good for a designer fragrance. Not too expensive, nice bottle size, and good performance. So projection, this works well in the winter. This is going to be good for colder months when you got to put an extra layer on. The projection's good. I give it like a 7 out of 10. It's not crazy, doesn't kill everybody in the room, but does its job like you would expect it to, and especially when you got to layer up. In terms of longevity, I'm going 8 to 10 hours. I felt like I was getting out of this. It's a full work day, probably not all the way into the evening. Reapplication is probably going to be needed to press on further into the night. The base scents just really didn't hold up all that strongly, I do not think, or in my experience, I really did not think they did. It starts off sweet and spicy. It's got cardamom listed as its main note, although it really is mostly just sweet, spicy, generic. It's less cardamom than other fragrances really are, like Wanted by Night or Blue Electric, stuff like that. I did check the ingredients listings, and that's kind of what makes up this fragrance more than anything. Right off the top, number one after alcohol and proprietary fragrance, coumarin, and then right not two ingredients after alpha isomethylionine. So the two big mall fragrances, big soft powdery, kind of just tonka, pretty generic actually. It gets a lot of hype, but I found it to be more generic than anything else. It's good. It's got good performance. So if you're going to go down the road of something like this, yeah, it's going to be a good pickup because it's actually kind of fairly generic. But that doesn't make it bad. It's a good fragrance. That price point's good. I just really did not think that the fragrance itself was anything crazy to write home about. The iris listing in the middle, I really never got. I don't think this was anything like a Dior Homme Intense, a Prada L'Homme, that sort of iris, the Givenchy Reserve Privé. Those all have very similar iris, waxy iris notes. This really doesn't. Maybe it's just contributing to the freshness, whatever you want to call it. It's just not all that pronounced. The base was vaguely vanillic, only vaguely woody. It's, kind of just a generic mall fragrance dry down. It's nothing super crazy to write home about in terms of dry down fragrance. But the fragrance itself does last for a good stint, for a full day. So that's really what you're going to be getting out of it. That vanilla oriental woods kind of thing really isn't, it's, you could probably ignore those note listings if you're thinking about buying this. It's, more of the spicy, sweet, Tonka-esque mall fragrance that a lot of these fragrances actually are. Is it a good blind buy? Actually, I kind of think so. It's pretty safe. Good price onto it. It's a fairly generic fragrance that's really not going to upset anybody. I personally thought I was finding some sort of woody vetiver kind of sharp, off-putting fragrance chemical in there. It comes and goes. You might not even notice it. I'm just being super nitpicky. Overall, I did enjoy this fragrance, but I didn't really see any reason to wear it for an extended period of time. That being said, guys, if you'd like to see any of these, we've got Le Male on board, Aviator, and Le Beau Male in testers. We've got In the Navy and Le Beau Le Parfum in retail packaging. If you'd like to see any of those or any other fragrances, please don't hesitate to hit me down in the comments. I write every single request down, whether I might be able to do it or not. I write them all down. I really appreciate knowing what you guys want to see, because it gives me an idea of what to open next. So, as always, guys, until the next time I see you, talk to you, or anything else, take it easy. Thanks, you guys.